My dreams are coming true right now.
The day has finally come where Adam is officially late.
Can we give him the loser beer just for
this?
Just for being late.
I have two, so yeah, that works. I'll grab the other one and
one for him.
One for him.
We'll see if he takes the hint.
And then
he's a good champ.
And then another one for the official loser. Oh my god,
that is golden.
I can't believe it. I mean, for the audio listeners, it doesn't mean anything, but for the live stream, this is my favorite thing in the world.
We've never done this.
That he is late. That we just started without him.
Loosey goosey. Yeah, he'll know. He'll walk in and he'll just start. He'll see everything.
I'm gonna put
he gets all the it'll
right
be on top of the shitty
stuff.
Beer. That's so funny.
That's so good.
I'm a business boy today.
You
Came
are a business
straight
boy
from
today.
work.
It looks good.
I mean, business
look good.
casual. This is like I'm the most dressed up at my office.
That's a great shirt.
I have a guy who Hagen vibes with
I
who
love
like
him so much.
Oh, yeah,
shows
we were
up to
talking
work
about him.
dressed like a lifeguard, and like we work in corporate America.
What do
So
you
it's
what,
like,
do you, what do you call his sunglasses?
oh, his douche glasses. Yeah, his douche shades. I
What
can
are
show
they?
you. They look like. Here's my best explanation of them, and I told here my best explanation of him or of these glasses are, hey dude, you look like the bully on the ski mountain in the 80s movie.
Oh, yeah.
I said,
okay.
you look like such a douche. And he said, yeah, I know. Isn't it great? It's pretty great. Like, he's self-aware.
Who was the wrestler? Did you guys end up going to see the WWE?
No.
Oh.
I was here.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That was right after we got back from Louisiana.
Right. Yeah.
And I wanted to go, but I think my partner used the me being tired as the like, oh, let's not go. That kind of thing. Yeah. We should definitely trim this up for the audio only.
I can turn up some of this for the audio. Yeah.
You don't have to do it for the video, but like I think for the audio only, we're just kind of vibing.
For the audio or for the video, I'll trim up the intro, and I can, but I'll like I can leave all this dead space is fine.
Let me tell you how to do your job.
No, it's fine. It's a good idea. But don't ever do it fucking again, man.
I'm pulling up the douche shades for. And by the way, he's not a douche. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, okay.
I love
See
that
those
picture
shades?
so much, man. Oh my god.
Sorry for live. I don't even know if he knows that we do a podcast, so it kind of seems I'm not going to just throw him up there.
Well,
Yeah.
and my favorite thing about him is that he is like super like gym ratty, right? He like
I should send him this like stream right now and say, hey man, we're talking about you.
he stays on like Texas time when they're on like work trips to go to the gym.
So like if we're in California for work trips, that's 2 hours behind. So if it's 8 a.m. here in Texas, it's 6 a.m. there. It is like, come on, dude.
So he'll go to the gym at 6.
Yeah, and like, but it'll specifically be like, hey man, we're at a conference together. Which like, don't know if you guys know this, but a conference, I assume NAMM is the exact same way. But like, professional work conferences is literally just partying.
Yeah,
It is adult partying. There are so many like official and non-official like get-togethers afterwards. It is nonstop. It is like the show floor is actually the like least important part. It's the networking after. So like we're all like, hey man, we're going to so-and-so's hotel room tonight. We're going to this. There's a free mixer here, that kind of thing. It is party hopping. It is very much like high school, or not high school, college. And he's just like, hey man, I gotta stay on Texas time. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
And then my real favorite part is that he plays WoW and RuneScape. And he plays like both simultaneously. I love it. It's my favorite thing. Like I like it's great like meeting like the super like bulky dudes who play WoW and
That's
RuneScape.
you.
No, I'm not super bulky.
That's you in 5 years.
I'm not super bulky.
5 years. You could do it in a year.
Hey, we started.
There he is.
We were on a very boring meeting the other day, and I immediately texted him, fire up RuneScape, and he sent me this photo and said, shh. So he's got a third monitor. Dude, he's got one work monitor and 2 like game monitors.
Yeah. I thought that he told me that he like plays sometimes WoW and RuneScape at the same time.
Just attention.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Welcome, Adam.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I made it.
it.
You made it. 10 minutes late.
And you got all the cancel bucks.
You got all
I think that's fair.
and a shitty beer.
I'm not gonna have that beer.
Okay. Well, you might get it
I
at
think
the
Dave
end.
understands.
Yo, I totally understand.
You might get
might
it.
get it later.
There's
We'll
a
see.
game.
Might? Oh,
But I'm in the running this week, so
Yeah. Yeah. And,
play hard.
And to be fair, everybody I think has a pretty good chance at this game. Like everybody has a good chance of winning. So maybe no one gets it.
Well, that's assuming that everyone did the research, which, as I established last week, I have no confidence in the two people to my right.
if it involves a documentary, Dave did it.
Dave, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If we all get it right, because you're the
Then
person
I'll
asking
drink the
question,
beer.
then you got to drink.
I'll drink
You
the
can
beer.
just have
You don't have to drink the whole
a
thing.
gulp.
Yeah.
I finished yours last time when you left.
That's so gross.
Why?
No, I feel like if we all get it
fine.
right, we all pour it out for Taylor Hawkins. How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in this room.
And we'll videotape it. No. We'll videotape it and put it up on the socials and whatnot. That can be our YouTube clip.
That's perfect. I love that.
There you go.
I love that. Morning. Welcome to Don't Feed the Artist. I'm Hagen.
Dave.
I'm late.
I'm business boy. Got
Sorry
my-
for any time anyone's listening for the first time. It's really confusing.
Yeah, this isn't gonna work for them. If you need to listen to another episode, if this is your first one,
No, stay here.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You don't need to know
unless
our
you're watching
names.
live, and then just go with it.
Yeah.
Just roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Business boy.
Yeah,
I love
business
that.
boy.
That's-
Thank you.
Well, do you? But do you change your name as you change attires? Like, are you like one day punk boy?
I could be. I mean, I'm not punk.
Well, I'm just,
But
just
yeah,
like
theoretically.
Yeah. Like
The people you work with probably think you are.
what?
Oh yeah.
They don't understand it.
I don't know if I tell this story, but like, I have the whatever you call it, not frosted tips, but basically
Yeah.
the blonde tips and
Blonde highlights.
my boss, one of my bosses, like the first day he saw it, he like got like maybe like 10 inches from my face, and it was like 8 a.m. So I get it. That's early for some people, not for me, but clearly for him it was. And
That was strange.
that was a very dramatic change.
So jarring.
In real life, but I'm looking at the video. It doesn't look different at all.
No.
It looks different enough for me. Keep telling your story. I'll explain it shortly.
Yeah. I have a theory, but whatever. Hagen just it changed his
I
height.
changed my chair height dramatically.
But
Very
mine-
dramatically.
From business height to
Was it
work height.
intentional?
To punk height.
wasn't meant to be this much. No, keep going.
So like he got like 10 inches from my face and was kind of like squinting, and he goes, "Is that for the rock show?" And I think it was a compliment, but I said, "Yeah,
I love
It
when
Did you say it like that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm spry at 8 a.m." Like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I love when people call like what we do like a rock show or a concert.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
Do you guys do originals too? That's what I get all the time.
Yeah.
And I say, I only do originals. They give me 45
Wow.
minutes. That's all I'm going to do. Give me 3 hours, then I'll throw some covers in for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. It's a very funny thing.
the change of height is reminding me of the Oklahoma City a dinner we had where it was like the Peter
At the-
Jackson, like the perception
Hobbit.
Oh, yeah.
trick. Where Hagen was at the end of the
Elbows up
table
like this.
and he looked like a little boy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. I felt so tall.
I was thinking also about the picture that we took in Louisiana where where all four of us and Joel are the same height in that picture.
I still haven't
Super
figured
weird.
out how that worked.
No, I've showed it to so many people. It's a mystery.
It makes no sense. In
Yeah.
the very next picture, it's
And
appropriate.
yeah, then we're all our actual heights. I lowered my chair because whenever like in the camera, this chair sits so much taller than everybody else's, and I feel like the proportion looks weird. So I tried to lower it just a little bit, but I went too far down, and now I'm
So you
stuck.
wanted to get to our
You
our
feel
height.
stuck,
I
yeah.
feel stuck.
Can
yeah.
you do it again? Go
Go.
go full bore. Go up to the top.
Go
Yeah,
up to
dude.
the top and go all the way down?
No, go full mast and then half mast.
I'm just gonna go all the way up.
Everybody, give
So
him a
okay,
salute.
let's
Everybody,
look in the
See,
thing.
that didn't seem
Dave.
like that big of an adjustment, but now
Yep.
it is.
But
Right
then also,
hand.
if you look here at the camera, like to me, it just looks like compared to me and Jackson, I'm just like fucking.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Are we stealing Valor?
Yep, stolen valor style.
Is that what that was?
I did it. I'm all the way down now.
It looks the same in the video.
It does not.
No, it doesn't.
It does not look. I look like I'm much closer to Jackson's height in the video.
Well,
is
and,
the
like,
point.
and
We need,
people who
like, a
don't,
booster seat?
it's just a short chair.
We gotta get Jackson a booster seat.
Little guy in the back seat.
I mean,
I'm fine with the
it
like.
shows a little bit more because he's closer to the camera. Is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Like we don't, neither of us like look too far in height.
Yeah,
even though
no.
Dave's taller than me.
We've
But
never
we're back
addressed
here.
our height, but like, Adam, you and me are the same height, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're a little shorter than me. I don't know.
I don't know, but,
But-
sitting closer to the camera, you don't look taller.
No. Adam and I are like the same height. Dave and Hagen are what, like 6 inches taller than us?
6'3", 6'4".
I don't know what that means, so I'm just gonna say 6 inches.
How tall
more.
are you?
I don't know.
You don't know how tall you are?
What does your driver's license say?
Yeah.
I
They-
made it
no,
up.
yeah, they just ask you what you want
They,
to put
they
on there.
asked you that. They should
no,
tell
they-
you.
They measured me.
They didn't
Oh.
measure me.
Yeah.
No, they just asked how tall I was, and I was
Same.
like, I don't know, 5'9", 5'10".
That's
The guy's
exactly
like,
what I
5'10".
did.
I think I
You
think
got to be consistent though, because they'll call you out on that shit.
I think you guys are probably
Well, we're
about 5'10".
dude.
yeah.
We're
I think
American.
we can
You can
approximate.
fuck right off.
I'm talking about in Texas.
Sure.
I used to say 6'3" because I'm like 6'3" and fucking 4.
but
fifths.
but you're taller than me, but
Yeah.
barely.
Yeah.
But I measured at
Barely.
6'4" at the DMV.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, super weird. And then I got gaslit by some friends that I'm actually 6'2". It's really fucked up. I thought I was shrinking.
I literally don't think about my height at all. So like whenever like people like y'all who make fun of, you know, like, I'm taller than you, or like, you're short. It's like, for me, like I literally don't think about it.
Yeah.
And
But
also
tall people are very concerned with their height.
that, and also it's like 2 things. The world's made for us. Like
yeah.
everything is made for us. Cool, you get to see
You go,
better
to,
at
you go
concerts.
to the underground in London, it's made for us.
Yeah. I can sit on a subway, totally man spread.
I'll say
Also, my knees are fine.
I'll say one thing about tall people are concerned about their height. I would say that is partially true. A lot of other people are damn concerned about our height
About
too.
tall people's
a
height.
lot of people
That's
talk
fair.
about how
That's
tall and how big we are a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a very big point of comment. Now I do
What's
complain.
it like up there?
Yeah, I do complain about my height and my size a whole lot. I think I showed you guys that picture of me in the airport bathroom where I'm fucking shoulder to shoulder with the wall, and it was just like I can't. There's nothing for me to do here. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's good shit.
there's not a lot of news to talk about. See what?
You're not allowed to just call out comments
See?
like that. You can't cherry pick.
You got to read what it says at least.
Oh yeah, my wife's in the chat. She said, "Dave, you're not exactly 6'4"? Question mark. This changes everything.
I met somebody on
See, you
Tinder
lied to somebody.
Oh,
years ago. I met somebody on Tinder. We were hitting it off, like exchange numbers. We were past the like general like, hey, are you like sketchy part? And we were talking, and right as we were setting up our first meetup, she said to me, hey, quick question. And like we were hitting it off, like we were having a good time. And she immediately said, quick question, how tall are you? And I said something like 5'8" or 5'9", and then like ghosted.
Yeah,
like-
this is a
It
huge.
didn't upset me because I was just like, well, I'm really glad that we got that out beforehand.
I mean,
because
yeah,
like
you
in
can't change
person,
that.
would have definitely hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
If we talk about this for too much longer, we're gonna get put on some like fucking manosphere algorithm. So we gotta not talk about that for too much longer.
I'm getting recommend. I,
I
think
don't know
I'm
what that
off.
means, but that doesn't sound good.
It's like a lot of like people in like the red pill manosphere are like girls only want one thing, like high value man. They have money, they have height, they have all the.
so
all this kind of stuff.
we'd be compared to Joe Rogan.
No,
Yeah, okay.
no. Much worse. Much worse. Much worse.
I don't know if that's worse.
Well, then
It's
why are
worse.
we here?
They both seem bad.
It's worse. So
Other than it's Monday.
it's Monday. You know, I thought we could just hang out.
I mean,
We
the
stand a
Foo
short
Fighters
king.
did something, and we all watched it, right?
Yeah, I didn't do anything, Adam.
Well, there's not a lot of news to talk about, but we are going to talk today about Alanis Morissette and her album Jagged Little Pill, as well as the documentary that was made in 2021 called Jagged.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, we'll get there, man.
thank you.
So I do have some games. Primarily, there's only two. There's two towards the end, but there's one that I have right now in this very moment. And that game, let me make sure it's nowhere on the screen. Okay, this game, first of all, is to spell Alanis Morissette.
So I'm out. I have it. Her
So it was pulled up in
Wikipedia
front
pulled
of
up.
you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
And I think I know. Let me go last.
Go last. Yeah, let
And
me
I
do that.
shouldn't get a point
Sure,
for even
sure.
if I get it
Okay,
right.
okay.
A
Dave,
L A N I S
Okay,
Morissette.
okay. Dave.
ALANIS MORISSETTE.
Jackson?
Dave.
Dave is correct.
Oh,
I mean, you have to get it.
well, yeah.
2 S's, MISSI, SSI, PPI.
PI.
Alanis, Mississippi.
Is there a Mr. Sippy?
No.
Is there a Mr. Miss Mia Khalifa?
Okay, wait. So, okay, so Jackson doesn't get a point for that.
No.
Okay, cool. So just Dave. Dave's on the board. with
Yeah,
one.
he doesn't get a
And
point
then-
if his answer was just what Dave said.
Well, he was also looking at it. So
I already have it up,
Yeah,
so
Yeah, yeah.
it felt like cheating.
I
So-
can't believe I got that right.
That was good. That was good. Okay, so we are talking about Alanis Morissette. Before we talk too much about her history and about the album and the documentary, all that kind of stuff, does anybody have like any sort of history with Alanis Morissette? Has anybody listened to her before this? Like,
I feel like Dave should go first.
Okay.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
yeah.
she was all that. Like, that's the ironic music video is one of my favorite music videos ever.
It's on Much Music.
Yeah, it was
what
on
is
Much
that?
Music.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the video?
It's where the it's
car?
4 of her in the car.
I had never seen that until this documentary.
Dude, I had
this
seen
is
that video
wonderful.
a million times, and I think at one point she's eating
Ass.
like pumpkin seeds. Jesus.
I'm on it today.
Wine 969, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think she's eating like pumpkin seeds, and I was like, I want to try those. I don't know what they taste like.
They're great.
I've never tried them.
You haven't to this day?
No.
Oh.
This year, let's make pumpkins.
I'm sure
Let-
my wife has maybe tried them. She's a
Let's
fan
wait and
of-
see if she'll answer. But
This'll
like
be
this
fun.
year, let's all get together as a group and we could do it on stream if we want to like really just
Carve
like,
pumpkins.
Try
Yeah.
to make the logo.
you can
into
get
pumpkin.
small
That
ones.
sounds like a
But
nightmare.
basically,
Someone will fuck it up real bad.
I love making a pumpkin. And my favorite part of making a pumpkin is like at the end, you pull your sesame seeds, toast them, put some seasoned salt on them. Incredible.
Are they still called sesame seeds?
Sorry, did I say sesame seeds? I meant seasoned salt.
Oh,
You get the fucking
Pumpkin
pumpkin
seeds?
seeds, clean them up, dry them off,
Bake 'em.
put seasoned salt on them, and then bake them. That's what I do. You can get fancy with it, that kind of stuff. So I think that sounds super fun.
Okay, so Canada. Canada's your
Yeah.
history.
No,
Dude, you have pumpkin seeds in the pantry right now. That's good. Fiber.
I didn't
Little did you know.
I didn't understand the magnitude of why Alanis was so popular because I was such a young kid, but I did really enjoy the music.
Yeah, I would have to
That's really
agree. I never like really sought out her music or I've heard most of it, obviously. I think most people have if you listen to the radio at any point. But it never like really got to me that she was a big deal, like on that scale that she was.
Yeah.
And watching this like documentary was very much like, oh wow, like that's like crazy. The entire like situation and everything is,
Yeah.
obviously, but just the suddenly like being the biggest like act in the world touring,
Yeah.
more or less on your first album, like-
Biggest. Yeah, absolutely the biggest. Yeah.
So for me, my intro to her was, did you guys ever watch that HBO series, Live at Abbey Road?
No.
No.
So it's this wonderful series. And they did it for, I think, like 2 seasons or 2 series, as they would call it, across the pond. He knows what I'm talking about. But they basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. They went to Abbey Road Studios and like just got basically famous people. There's a great Dashboard Confessional episode that I love. Some of the best harmonies on that. Obviously, it's in a studio, so like, how much can you trust it?
Yeah.
But whatever. And this was right after that Oracular Spectacular came out by MGMT. So they were the prime spot. I think it was right before them. I think it wasn't just like, oh, there's this musician. It's typically like 3 musicians. It wasn't like this one, then this one, this one. I think they did multiple songs, kind of like they broke it up. So like, oh, you have to watch MGMT, but you also have to watch this person and this, which is cool. Exposes you to new things. But she was on it and she did this, I don't know if it's an acoustic song. I've never listened to it studio wise, but this song Hands Clean, beautiful. Beautiful. You can't find it anywhere except for HBO Max or Max.
It's
Actually,
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
They were
Yeah,
really
when
happy
this
to
is
tell me
out.
that when I logged in to watch this.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
But yeah, so
Good for you.
beautiful song, not on this record. So, yeah. And then of course over time, I think I did hear somebody sing the song. What's the swallow it down? What a jagged little
Yeah.
pill. That
Yeah.
song. I saw the you live, you learn.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song on the album. And I heard somebody singing that, and I was like, "That's so damn catchy." And then
That's a great song.
then I listened to the whole record.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
You Ought to Know is on Rock Band 3.
oh, is it?
Rock Band 2 or 3. I think it's
Oh,
3.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the bass. That's the only song where people should fight over the bass.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah,
That's
probably another one.
that's Flea
But-
on bass.
Oh,
yes.
Dream Theater's Panic, or what is it? Is it Panic Attack is what it's
Panic
called?
Attack. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, that's the best bass song on that whole
It is.
game.
Yes.
So fucking fun. God damn, let's play Rock Band.
That would be
Fuck this shit.
Yeah, so I listened to Alanis a lot when I was a kid. My mom listened to a whole bunch of Alanis when I was a kid. So I'm pretty familiar with these songs. At least, I mean, it's like it's that point where like it's kind of ingrained in my brain, but I couldn't necessarily tell you the lyrics off the top of my head. But as soon as it's played, I'm like, I know this song.
Yeah.
Your mom, let's give a quick shout out to her. She like has done a wonderful job at exposing you to like really like just like strong female musicians and
Yeah.
just like great musicians in their own right,
Yeah.
regardless of that. But like that's awesome.
That's very, very.
My mom
true.
showed me like Johnny Cash.
It was
Come on, mom.
My mom showed me Rod Stewart.
Ugh.
It was car rides of Fleetwood Mac, Dixie Chicks, and Alanis Morissette and other stuff. But yeah, those were car rides.
It's just the chicks.
Yeah, sorry. It's
Sorry
just-
that I just
again.
sent you
I mean, at the time,
YouTube video.
You just sent me a YouTube video.
I did. It's an hour-long YouTube video about like the history of rhythm games.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing.
Oh,
You're the only other person who would watch it. It's amazing.
so we all watched the documentary Jagged. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you guys watched this series before, Music Box?
I had not.
The,
I've heard about it. Maybe y'all mentioned.
you have,
a
Dave.
different
Yeah, I
episode
have.
of it.
the first one was the Woodstock 99 one.
Yeah, I watched. I didn't watch the whole Woodstock 99 one, but I watched clips of it.
It's a hard watch just
Yeah.
because it takes on heavy topics. And you can quickly suss that out like, they keep referring to this person and they've interviewed everyone. Why is this person not talking? It's like, well, because they're not here, that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I get why you didn't finish it, but like this is my second one of these. I'm like, these are fucking fantastic. I immediately put all of them except for one on like my watch list. Sorry, Dave.
It's the guy who created it. His name's Bill Simmons, and he's the executive producer on all of them, and he created the whole series.
Yeah, is he relevant in any way of like, he's
No,
a...
I couldn't. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page that I could find. I just like I had to
I
look
think
up.
he's just a big producer at HBO.
Yeah, I had to look up Bill Simmons, producer, and then Music Box popped up right away.
He's a
But-
producer.
And then Music Box popped up right away. But there's like, for those who don't know, there's the Woodstock 99, DMX, Jason Isbell, Kenny G, Juice WRLD, and another one that I don't know what it was. It was, but it was, those are the big ones, and I'm sure there's going to be more too. So really great documentaries. Seems like the Jason Isbell one is like really sad and really well done. So
They did it really like before this one started. It's called Jagged. I think we already said that, but before it started, it had a little snippet talking to the director.
Yeah.
Of just her saying like, "Hey, like I obviously knew about Alanis, and like I know a lot more about her now, and this is like kind of like a little memoir, but like there's so much to her. Like even though I've spent so much time with her now, like this is like what this meant to me."
right.
And I found that really
Yeah.
insightful to
Yeah.
like hear the person behind the camera, like, actually making things happen.
Yeah, it was really good. And I think we could say more about the documentary as we go, but I think that
I really hope we do.
I think that that's pretty much all I have is stuff that was in the documentary.
Do you have the director's name?
Allison Clayman.
Okay, cool.
But like the thing about the documentary that I really liked was it had like for music documentaries, I feel like there's like a few different ways of doing it, and I love when a music documentary can make like a kind of like live or music video-esque thing where they have the lyrics pop up in like this almost like kind of written way. And sometimes like that can that happened in one of the Kurt Cobain docs, and it bothered the fuck out of me.
Montage of
Yeah.
because it was in the style of
Yeah.
his like handwriting,
And
like
there's
it was a notebook.
A couple other ones where it bothers the fuck out of me, but this one was like, this feels so appropriate. It
Yeah,
was
for some
so-
reason it
yeah.
worked.
It
Yeah.
worked
Because
so well.
all the lyrics played into the story.
Yeah.
Are
yeah.
y'all subtitles guys?
No.
No.
Depends. but not for this.
I'll like if I'm watching Train Spotting, it's subtitles because I can't understand Scottish people.
Yeah, it really depends if I like what I'm watching or like, you know, sometimes I'll watch something at quiet volumes, then I'll subtitles.
Wait, is that Scottish or is that Irish?
Irish.
I'm pretty sure it's Irish. But
Oh no!
Give him a cancel buck. Get him one.
No.
I'm gonna lose them all by the time we're done.
Yeah, whatever.
So the documentary covers like basically like
Wait,
the
hold on.
beat.
Did you need subtitles for this one, or were you just asking?
No. I'm just curious.
asking
I know that's
the
like
lyrics.
a not contentious, but like people have real like
strong
people are-
opinions on it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the anime subs versus dub things, and it's just like
Yeah.
what I don't like about subtitles. It varies, but for the most part, I don't want them on there. It's like hey, somebody like really composed a shot here, and like if I'm not paying attention, sometimes I'll notice I'm just like I'm staring.
Like you're reading
at
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels wrong. It feels like looking at someone's chest.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me because I'm just
Sure.
like somebody like this is a thing beautiful in front of me, and here I am just like not even paying attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was gonna say the lyrics kind of like do serve as subtitles in a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Which is
Yeah.
helpful because it's not like in your face, and it is like it feels intentional. Like to Jackson's point,
Yeah, it's more intentional when it's just at certain
it's
spots
something
instead of
that
the
just
whole
is
time.
there, and it has a reason for being there too.
And I don't mean this in a negative way at all. Like Alanis's voice is absolutely incredible, but the way that she hits some words, sometimes it's like I'm not entirely sure what you're
You're not
saying.
100% sure.
That's the whole thing we
Yeah,
got to talk about. She has like such a unique voice. I think especially of that generation, there are like people who just like if I had never heard the song before, let's say you play like I think she had an album that came out last year. If you play something from that, I guarantee you I can instantly be like, oh, this is Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Even if she like released a metal record, it sounds like Judas Priest, and then she comes out singing. It's like she is like really unique in her vocal styling and how she's attacking vowels and everything. But I think the way I read it is that she writes down what she wants to say, or she comes up with what she wants to say, and instead sometimes she will, no matter what, make it fit.
Yeah.
Either
sure.
elongating it
Yeah.
or putting a mouthful, and it works. It really
Yeah.
works.
There were I think that there was a lot of moments where she would have a melody and then she would just write something down. And there are a couple songs where she starts a phrase and then like I think she's gonna say something else, but then she twists the vowel, like it's a diphthong, right? And she twists the vowel and then it's a different word. I'm like, oh, cool, wow, I'm on a journey with this word.
Yeah, but also she has a great control of like head voices
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
her falsetto.
It almost feels
incredible.
Celtic the way that
Yeah.
she kind of
Almost, yeah.
attacks things.
Yeah.
I would say like if for some reason you haven't listened to Alanis Morissette and you're like, oh, what does this sound like? And you're not going to pause this because you should wait till we're finished to do anything. It's kind of similar to a Billy Corgan where it's like, except for Billy Corgan's more polarizing. I get why people wouldn't like his vocals. Like you'll like Alanis Morissette, but like he will do a very similar thing where it's like he's going to fit whatever he wants into that stanza.
Right.
And he's also like, it's a unique, like he will also like subvert, like there are certain, like when you listen to a pop song, you'll hear the first lyric and you're like, well, it's going to say one of these two things. And he's really good at that. Like, oh, actually, I'm going to say something completely different, but it makes sense. She's the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Poetic.
from the very beginning, taking it back, Alanis was born in 1974. She was born in Ottawa, Canada, and she was born to two parents who were both teachers, and she also has two brothers, one twin brother, and then another one, an older brother. The twin brother also a musician, but also was offered to be a co-founder, I think, in Lululemon.
Damn.
Like his
Who's more successful? It's got to be him.
I can't remember if it's a
If that's-
co-founder but it's something high in Lululemon whenever they were starting. But you can on his Wikipedia, you can like there's a whole section about like his yoga, meditation, and Reiki like experiences and studying. So yeah,
All right.
I like. Let's just like step back for a second. Had either of or any of y'all, not either of you, any of y'all ever heard an interview or anything of Alanis Morissette before this?
yes,
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I hadn't, and I think unfairly so. I had this idea of who she was. I was like, okay, she's kind of brooding. It's just from this era. Like I had this idea of the way she would talk. I was thinking crystals. I was thinking stuff like that. Very like,
Oh.
kind of like Friends white savior type thing. And then I listened, like as soon as she starts talking, I was like, I'm the asshole. Totally wrong. Judged a book by its cover. Totally in the wrong there. And I was like, she seems, obviously this is years of therapy and like all that kind of stuff, which she talks about. But like, I was like, she seems like a wonderful person. She seems so cheery. And like, we'll touch on it later of the kind of like how everyone, when I hear this record, I don't think of like, oh, so angry. I don't view it that way. But I like very much was just like, oh, wow. She is like, seems like such a kind and fun person and like very introspective and not in that kind of like what I was alluding to. Right. So I was happily surprised by that.
Yeah.
That's my bad, by the way. I judged a book by their cover.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that part of that makes sense outside of even just like if you know her background, it would make sense. Like, so both of her parents being teachers, they were teachers in the military, and also they were like raised Catholic. And so for someone to come out the other side, if they did come out like talking about all crystals and stuff, like that would make a lot of sense too.
Yeah,
it's a weird rebellion.
Yeah. So her family moved to Germany when she was 3, moved back when she was 6. She talked in the documentary about how like that was really important for her. And I'm like, no.
I didn't quite buy that, but maybe
she claims Canada, but was influenced by her time in Europe.
Yeah, I was like,
from 3 to 6, really.
She said that in the documentary.
Formative years.
I'm thinking like, yeah, like like David Bowie was over there for a couple of years and like remember stuff. Maybe she was in her teens or something. No,
nope.
I went to Disney when I was a toddler, so I really claimed Disney as my own.
It was a formative thing that influenced your music.
Yeah. Star Tours. That's where I grew up.
I will say when she said I grew up in Ottawa, the capital of Canada, I was like, oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought the same thing.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I completely didn't give a shit.
I was
America.
But yeah, so then they moved back and quickly started getting her into like piano lessons, dance lessons. Her dad in particular was like a really big supporter and proponent of pushing her in to do all of this stuff. He loved that kind of thing. She wrote her first song when she was 10, so she was very obviously like in this right away, very, very early.
Yeah, she was singing at church and some lady was like, you have a beautiful voice, and she was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. She also became like the kind of the Jenny Lewis type where like she was acting too.
Yeah.
Like
She was.
It never was like the very prominent thing, but like as a kid,
like
she
the
was.
Disney kid.
She was on the show. You can't do that on television.
Yeah.
And
Resident Canadian. What the fuck is that?
I have no clue because it was like 1984.
We're not talking Degrassi. We're talking
like think like all that. Think like all that. It's like
Great show.
a teenage preteen sketch comedy show.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then from there, she records like her first demo. Shortly after that, I guess she's like 15 or 16 at the time. She records. Oh no, she records her debut album when she's 16, which is titled Alanis.
Did y'all listen? Like,
It's not on her
pause.
Apple Music.
Oh no, I know. Have y'all
Is it on
listened
any
to
streaming?
any albums other than Jagged Little Pill?
I listened to the newest one she came out with.
What about y'all?
I have not.
Just pieces, not whole albums.
I heard that one, as I said, the live thing from Abbey Road. I've never listened to anything outside of Jagged Little Pill. So I listened to half of Alanis, and I was like, that's enough of that. And I did have to I had to go to like YouTube and find just a rip of it. And it's very much, it's what I call department store pop or runway pop.
It's dance pop is what they call it. Yeah.
And it felt like Paula Abdul.
And the funny thing about that is like, so this is a weird kind of like twist, but for those who watch How I Met Your Mother, Robin Scherbatsky's character had like an origin where she basically had like Alanis Morissette, like basically like kid pop star history. And so it was like based on that, where she did like mall tours. Yeah.
I never made that connection.
Well, and there's a they did like a.
Well, you just saw this documentary, Adam.
That's true, but I mean, I knew who Alanis Morissette was before this.
Well, so. they make the connection really clear in one episode whenever like they're doing like a interview with her on Much Music for like a fake documentary, and like she wrote a song about a breakup, and they had Dave Coulier on, and he's like, "It's not about me. Why does everybody think it's about me?"
Dude, I've seen this is my second time watching that documentary, and when they started talking about that song, I was like, it was Dave Coulier.
Yeah,
and then she was like, people think it's somebody, it's not him.
Yeah.
It just wasn't him.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I mean, she didn't say it wasn't him. She said like
she's not going to say who it is.
She said she's not going to say, but that one person who was like her friend was like, yeah, people think it's this guy from a TV show, famous TV show, but it's not him.
Yeah.
She was like, I was dating like 8 people at that time.
Dude.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone's like, it's this one person, but whatever.
So she had her debut album, Alanis, that was on MCA Records Canada. It was only released in Canada. So like she basically just ran with this for a while. It's going with this like kind of pop star image, this like dance, like clean girl image thing they wanted to go with.
Very, like,
MCA
blown out
Records.
hair.
Very blown out
Yeah,
hair.
yeah.
MCA Records was supposed to be called MC Records, but they're in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I was going to do a Scott Pilgrim reference. Hey, what's the website for Amazon.ca?
So then in 92, she released her second album, Now Is the Time. And that one had more of like Alanis on the album, basically. It was more of like her lyrics. It was more of her image. And there were a lot of people didn't really like that, I guess. Like mostly the executives didn't like
The
that.
executives were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like
Yeah.
you
Right,
were
'cause
already
they
in
thought
a
they
little...
signed a very specific artist, and
Right,
they would
right.
just make more of those records.
Yeah. I think that probably the part of that in the documentary that broke my heart is when she was talking about him to go back to the studio to like do vocals on something, and she gets back in and the producer's like, "We're not doing vocals. We're here to talk about your weight."
Yeah.
I
fuck.
know that you've been sneaking cheese slices.
Yeah.
At 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we count them every day.
and it
Yeah.
spiraled her into a long bout, like problem
Lifelong,
with
yeah.
like, lifelong battle with eating disorders.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bunch of fucking predators.
Yeah, this is like just a horrible thing, horrible situation. And so then shortly after that, the label dropped her.
And she had like moved away from Ottawa to like Toronto at this point, right?
Yeah,
So like
she
she's imagine yourself as 15, 16, leaving your home and like literally being just like escorted around by like adults and
yeah,
like
And
Like working
That's
for the
wild.
studio that's probably signed a really like predatory deal in the first place.
Well, yeah. So the interesting thing is that the deal that she signed was for 2 records. So in the documentary, it says she got a call that she was dropped. But I'm not 100% sure how that. I mean, I'm sure she did get that call, but I'm sure the call was like, "You're dropped. We're not giving you another contract.
We're not renewing
Right.
your
Yeah,
contract.
yeah.
But at that point, not only did she live in Toronto, but she was getting flown around the world
Right.
to do music
Right.
video shoots and playing shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that clip where she's talking to like her other teenage friends. She's like, "I'm gonna take you on the road with me."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like, this is my friend so and so. She's actually a great singer. She's just being shy. And this is my other friend. I'm going to take you on tour with me.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't know about that. But in hindsight, like seeing how like she talked about the predatory behavior of all the people that were around her, the adults,
Yeah.
and just men hitting on her. And she was like, yeah, when I was 12, they were like, no, not yet. 13, not yet. 14, a little brave. She was like, 15, all bets are off.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so unfortunate. I know we're like 4 dudes talking about it, but like
Yeah.
it's really shitty.
super. I think that's like I was reading about this documentary, and I think that most of like the negative things that were said about the documentary were about that section, and I couldn't tell if it was people were like, we need to know more about this, or if it was like, I don't know, if it was just assholes. But that regardless, that's like the most heartbreaking thing. It's
So
horrible.
yeah. And didn't Alanis say that it was salacious, like the way that they edited the documentary?
Oh, I
Yeah,
think
after the fact, or
after the
more
yeah,
recently,
that's
maybe.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was supposed to go to a premiere, I think. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so then after she gets dropped, she is connected to Glenn Ballard, who becomes like basically her songwriting partner and her like producer and whatever.
that guy seemed fucking eccentric.
That guy,
Yeah.
yeah, I was not a big fan.
I was just like, whoa, you're fucking strange,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That was after she was like, didn't she go to LA and like nobody wanted
She
to work
moved
with her?
to LA, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
she found him and he was like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I just want to write songs.
yeah.
The first song was perfect.
It was like
Yeah.
her manager was like kind of pushing
This song perfect.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
like-
yeah. Her manager was like putting her with different people. The Glenn Ballard thing happened, and they like basically worked on. They started working, and then within 15 minutes they had something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was pretty much like instantaneous thing. Like they would just sit in Glenn Ballard's like house or studio. I couldn't tell if it was the same thing, but they'd sit in there, and Ballard would have something on like guitar keys or the drum machine, and then Morissette would have like melody, lyrics, whatever, and then they would just like have a song. The thing that I don't think they talked about in the documentary was that they did talk about how she was like done with doing multiple takes, right? She talked about in the early records how she would like do these like super like intense harmony sections or a bunch of takes on a song, of a bunch of vocal takes, and she was done with that. So for this, she was like, I'm only doing 1 or 2 takes. But the takes that were done on the demos were what was kept for the whole thing, which is crazy.
That's
Yeah, it's
insane.
really, really
I
cool.
loved that. Like towards the beginning of the documentary, it starts like they go to obviously one of her like a storage unit she has, and they're opening it up, and she like there's like just a little box that says like JLP demos or JLP sessions, and she's like, oh yeah, these are like here's all the early versions. She's like, there's probably gems in here, and they're like cassette tapes and all that kind of stuff. I loved it when she grabs this bag, unzips it, and then like kind of looks up at the camera, smirks, and goes, "That is a bag to and from ex-boyfriends." Zips it up and goes,
of notes and letters
Yeah.
to and
Yeah.
from ex-boyfriend.
yeah, and she goes, "That," and she kind of just smirks and goes, "Dear Alanis." And then, did y'all ever see that movie Dogma, the Kevin Smith movie?
Yeah.
I like when she pulled that out, I was like, I fucking forgot that she plays God in that movie.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's so funny. And then like her little anecdote of like, I got this script, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Absolutely.
The best fucking script. Yeah.
She was like, and this like for a post Catholic trauma syndrome person, like this is perfect. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, I relate so hard with that.
I feel so dumb now that you bring that up. I'm just now realizing why Kevin Smith was in that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
that too.
It says
Fuck.
director Dogma,
I
and I'm
know.
like, that's not
I know-
even his biggest
I
movie.
know it
I
said
know.
that, and I didn't make the connection. I was just like, well, that's weird, but maybe that's what he wanted to put us like attached to this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
Come on, guys.
I don't know.
so Glenn
You gotta know
Ballard.
your B-list, C-list, maybe D-list directors.
I'd say C-list.
Yeah, he's
C-list.
Comfortably C-list.
Yeah. So going back to Glenn Ballard, he quote said, "I'm telling you, within 15 minutes we were at it. Just writing Ironic was the third song we wrote. Oh God, we were just having fun. I thought, I don't know what this is, what genre it is. Who knows? It's just good." And he talked a lot about in the documentary, and like what we just talked about is like her lyrical stuff and her ability to turn a phrase and kind of like have something go somewhere that you aren't expecting. And for a producer and like co-songwriter, especially someone who's like been in the industry, like have that feeling, I think is probably one of the coolest things. Like,
And keep in mind while
She's
this guy,
19 at this point.
yeah, keep in mind at this point while this guy is like complimenting her, he has a loose Christopher Walken cadence. He's like,
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, are you kidding me? The ironic.
Rain on your wedding day.
He's from Mississippi.
Yeah. Yeah. So like she's 19, which, Canada you can drink, and
That's legal.
And then, she comes to America and she's just, a kid again.
Yeah. And so so they get working, they get writing, they have everything going. I think that the thing that in the documentary that felt so like real life, like a movie, like was the You Oughta Know radio story. Like how that song got on the radio just felt like it was like straight pulled out of a movie. Like,
Yeah.
you have to put this on right now.
Like,
Like,
inexperienced, also younger record producer guy or
Yeah.
like A&R guy finds this demo tape, rushes it to K-Rock, and the
Yeah.
lady's like, we don't do that. She's like, you got to listen to this. It's like, oh my God, let's put it on the air right now.
when we work on the radio, we listen to everything at 10.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you seen that, like that Tom Hanks movie, That Thing You Do? It's exactly that. Or like Lords of Dogtown when Mitch Hedberg walks in with the fucking like the wax wheels, and he's like, you gotta try these skate wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And you can do an ollie now.
And they tell the story of rushing the single in, them playing it, they love it. They're like, okay, put this on next. This is Alanis. You ought to know. You got to put this on next. And then they're like, and then the next hour, everybody's calling, asking,
Who was
who
that?
Oh
Who
my
was
God,
that?
who is that?
I might be jumping a little bit forward here, but this whole time they're showing this like massive propulsion of her career, talking about like, oh, like within like 2 weeks she was like everywhere. That song was. And then like they're talking about, and then they're forming the live band, which we can step back in a second. But then they show that first performance, which is like in front of like friends and family and just kind of A&R people. That felt so weak to me. And they were talking about like, and she was incredible. And I listened to it and I was like, this looks like a battle of the bands. Like, she
It
was
looks like
doing
somebody's
great.
first show.
Yeah, she was doing great, but I was just like, it just goes to show that like I could probably find some like performances of us in a room similar to that. And I was like, but if I was in an arena, I might be kicking ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, we're like, if I'm skipping forward more, she talks a lot about the energy of the crowd, and like she talks about the whole thing of like the crowd's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah. It's like,
Dude, her running around, I was just like, it looks kind of silly sometimes, but I'm like, oh, I've been in that situation.
Yeah.
Obviously not to that degree, but like I've been in that situation where I'm like, yeah, I just want to run around now. I don't give a fuck what I
We've
look
never
like.
played a stage that big.
It's primal, but also
Yeah.
I'm tethered in a way she's not.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like the energy that they created and that she fed off the crowd.
Great example. It's like getting in bed after a long day of just being awake and then laying down and just violently shaking.
I've started doing it. It's fun.
I tried it the
it's a
other
good
day, and
release.
my dog was like, what the hell is that?
I've started doing it, and Kara
They got
goes,
up and started biting at you. Just like,
Are you fine?
Kara goes, okay, Jackson, whenever I start doing it.
I don't like that. God, my cough came back for that.
That's how you know it was funny.
So we talked about it just at the top, but for you ought to know, for like, so they redid some of these songs for like the record. So like I said, the vocals always stayed the same, but they would redo some of the songs whenever like for the record to come out. And for you ought to know, they had Dave Navarro on guitar and Flea on bass.
I didn't know Dave Navarro played.
Yeah, Dave Navarro.
Did they mention that?
No, they didn't.
No,
they,
not
they,
once.
They didn't mention Flea, did they?
Nope.
No, they didn't mention either one.
And
Because
God bless him for it.
no, because here's the
He
thing.
gets enough credit.
Here's the thing is that like whenever like they played that in the documentary, I was like I heard the bass for the first time ever. I've listened to that song and I'm like, what in the fuck?
Yeah,
This is
it's so out of
rad.
place.
Are
No,
you
I think
kidding
it's,
me?
I think it's
You've never heard that.
I've never noticed it.
That
no.
like, despite like, if you can turn off Alanis for a second, like just like not listen to her, it is the
No, it
like,
is. It
most
is.
prominent part of the song.
I think
The
probably.
doobie-doo.
I think
between
It's easy to ignore though with her voice.
Well,
I
and
mean,
also
he's
think
like
about
Seinfelding between chorus to verse.
when's the last fucking time you listened aside from for this? When's the last time you heard an Alanis Morissette song without a crowd of people like your friends singing along to every
That's
song,
true.
or
Yeah.
you singing along
Or
to
the
every
entire
song?
bar,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like that's kind of like my memory of all of these songs is everybody singing along, whether it not be like my mom or like a group of people or whatever. So I never really took in the bass part.
He's outraged.
No.
Jackson is
I'm so
outraged.
sorry.
You're unlocking like a good sentiment that like I experienced today, and I think last time we talked about was the Sufjan episode years ago, 2020, of the like sometimes your favorite album you're gonna sing along to all the time, and you never stop to just listen. Whenever I lost my voice and I went to the Coheed show, I was forced to just listen. I couldn't sing because it hurt.
Yeah.
And just today I was doing that. I was listening to a Coheed live session, and I just decided, you know what? I want to hear Claudio sing, because typically there's like a crowd singing back. And like, I was just like, God, this guy, like, he doesn't get enough credit for how well he's singing, because when you're at a show, all you hear is everyone around you. Listen to your favorite record, whatever it may be. And I know it's really hard. It's like sit on your hands, so to speak. Don't sing a fucking word. Just listen. You're going to hear so many cool things that you forgot are there.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
so good.
It really, I think that this bass line is out of place, but I think it's pretty cool. Like I think it's like,
I mean, it works.
I
yeah.
think
It fits.
Yeah, I think it's like it's like this is like what was he thinking? But like also like this is it's cool. It's like the song doesn't necessarily need it, but like it's something that is like definitely something that keeps it a little more interesting if for some reason you need that.
Hey, that's a testament to Alanis Morissette that she, with that bass line, for however many years since you were introduced to it, you never knew about it.
Yeah,
that just
exactly.
goes to show
Yeah.
of how much
Yeah.
she's kicking ass.
Yeah.
But it's funny. But well, I mean, it took me a really long time to notice it as well. I think going back to listen to it
I
when
played it on Rock Band.
Oh, okay. Well, going back to listen to it, I remember hearing it and going, like, finding out it was Flea, and listening to it again and going, of course it's
You're like,
Flea.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I like it because I found, and you probably figured this out too, Hagen, but a lot of the drum tracks on this record they come from a programmed drum part.
Yeah.
And it's the 90s.
It's like I can't remember what the thing is called. It's there's like they if you
CR or something.
if you go to the personnel on the album,
Yeah.
it's like there's a person who's credited for playing this device.
Right.
And there's I think also
Beautiful.
Glenn Ballard is traded is
Programming, yeah.
he gets drum programming, but
Groove
I can't remember
Activator.
the Groove Activator. That's it.
Yeah,
That's on one song, and that's
okay.
Go to Yashiki.
And that's like the device is called a
Right.
Groove Activator.
Yeah.
That is so fun.
So it's the sound of the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Like vaguely pop, but like
Right.
Somebody who
alternative
plays
big hit.
guitar on Perfect and Ironic. His name is Basil Fung. That's
There
a
you go.
great name.
yeah, that's great. So
Flea plays bass on the first Mars Volta record.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I mean, he's on a surprising
everywhere.
amount of unexpected places,
Dude's like
including
herpes
Star Wars.
on like good albums. You just can't get rid of him.
so
Hey, he would appreciate that. He would
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a
I
think
funny
he would
joke.
be good, yeah.
He would
Yeah.
love that with his leopard ass
Did you
hair.
see- did
He
you
would
see that-
love it.
Did you see that clip going around that's like families that jam together stay together, and it's like the
Jam
Red Hot Chili Peppers like family members and also like all the kids all jamming together. It's really cringe.
No,
It
I
sucks.
That's
didn't.
so loud.
I'm reading books, dude. I'm off TikTok.
Nice. Good for you, buddy.
Wow, Alanis Morissette, the first thing she's credited on here. Look at this, Adam. Harmonica.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
her first credit. Harmonica. It's so funny.
I mean, that does appear in the documentary quite a bit.
A lot.
We-
Yeah.
we've brought it up now. Let's talk about it. What do y'all think about a harmonica? I hate a fucking harmonica. I hate a fucking harmonica.
If it's Stevie Wonder, all day. I'll listen to it all day.
I doubt it. There just can't be a way. Bring out a harmonica, I want to punch you.
It seemed like she was just shoving it
She was going,
into her lips and just breathing in and out. It was 2 notes.
and the person with the sign just going like, and this isn't an Alanis drag. This is a harmonica as an instrument. Get rid of it. Bagpipes, go ahead and throw that
Yeah.
on the pile too.
yeah, absolutely.
And like
that offends like a culture right there.
That's fine. I'm
entire
from that
country.
culture.
yeah, it's just like, and the person saying, Alanis, give me your harmonica. Muse does a similar thing on their last song. The bassist does a harmonica solo, and then he every night throws it out, and it's like a big thing
Shit,
of
that's
like,
dangerous.
he's like, I got like people are like, I got the Knights of Sidonia harmonica tonight,
God.
and like, part of me is like, yeah, it'd be cool to get that, but I would just also be like, is there like a 10-year-old kid around me? I'm gonna give this to them because like I don't want this thing fucking near me.
Yeah.
While we're talking about bagpipes, can you imagine being the first person to be shown the bagpipe? Like someone invented it.
And then somebody's like really
Someone's
proud
like,
of it.
Okay, you ready to hear it? And then all of a sudden you hear.
Well, and they're like, and so how did you make that? It's like, oh, it's a sheep
It's
splatter.
a sheep splatter.
It's like, oh,
and wood.
that's Ed Gein shit. And
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
it's like,
that is.
oh, you made a nipple belt, and it squeaks.
Yeah. I fucking hate bagpipes.
And I hate harmonicas.
I'm indifferent on harmonicas.
Please, we'll jump ahead again. I'm all about jumping around here. But if you want to email me a good harmonica song, I'm all ears. No Bob Dylan. Fuck
I was gonna
right
say,
off.
is that why you hate him so much?
I don't hate Bob Dylan. I think Bob Dylan's wonderful. As a person, he's frustrating, but I think his music is excellent.
John Mayer's Born and Raised. I like the harmonica on that record. Shout out to my wife for mentioning that.
I think that harmonica's fine. I think that the way that she used it live is like halfway really nice and really fun, and halfway really fucking annoying. It's
It
like
felt like energy
it's like
more
a
than it
weird-
did an actual addition.
it felt like something that she wanted to do. That was like, I'm gonna just do this, and it's gonna be fun, and people
Yeah.
get more energy from it. But also, like that's the moment where you're standing in the crowd and you hear someone go, "Is that a harmonica?" Like that's the shit that kills me. That I just can't.
Well, there's a point too in the documentary of her playing a harmonica, and you can just see the people on stage and the band being like we're doing that.
Yeah,
There's kind of like a look on their face about like
The jazz
all right.
bassist.
like it's going a little too long.
dude.
Let's talk about the band.
Dude.
And let's start with Chris Chaney, the current bass player for Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people except for the obvious one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Chaney, incredible bass player. got the gig on accident.
Yeah, that's great.
Man, they really went into him, and the way that they edited that,
call him.
the way they edited it, I was like, oh, this really worked out for this guy, but maybe don't say this.
I feel like he seemed to have a good take on it.
So
Wasn't he the bass player for Chevy Metal with Taylor too?
that would make sense.
Yeah.
He looks really familiar. What happened was Alanis was auditioning people for the band, and she had found people she liked, and she was calling someone back. She called back Chris Chaney to play bass, and I guess she meant to call a different Chris to come back and play with them.
Probably Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters. He's like, fuck.
And Chris Chaney showed up, and she tells everybody at the rehearsal space, like, I did not mean to call this guy. And he's a jazz bass player. He doesn't know anything about rock. He's just kind of figuring it out as he goes. And he was the bass player for the tour. So
can we talk about his hairstyle too?
Loved it.
During the interview where they talk about meeting the band, where are you from, blah blah blah. He's got the 90s mid part.
Yeah.
Which I loved when I was a kid. I totally had that, but it was spiked up in the back.
He's the only one that looked kind of nervous to be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was
he
like,
looked uncomfortable, like I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
What the fuck am I doing here? And he was like, I had no sense of style when I showed up to that audition.
Yeah. I wonder if they meant to call me.
That's one of those situations where you have those nagging thoughts of yeah, I think my friends hate me.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, in this case they did. They definitely did.
You were at least right.
They even talked about it in a documentary.
So the album came out, and then they go on an 18-month tour, right? 18-month tour. They find the band, Chris Chaney on bass, Nick Lachley on guitar, Jesse Tobias on guitar, and Taylor Hawkins on drums.
Who dat?
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
Man, he talked a lot in this documentary. I get it. He was there. He talked a lot in this documentary.
He did. And
Name
then
brand, baby.
they even had the bit at the end. I mean, we're just going to continue jumping around where he's like, oh yeah, then I left and went to Foo Fighters. And they're like, that didn't need to be in this.
Yeah, that really did.
No, it was nice.
I get why it was included because he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I felt really bad. And she's like, yeah, it was shitty.
She talks about how when you're watching your friends go away,
Right.
You feel like you're losing a part of yourself with that happening and losing a part of those memories. So I understand.
After we got to that part, I was
Yeah.
like, I understand why this was included now. But
Otherwise,
at first,
it was just he's fucking turning the knife inside.
yeah.
I'm curious. I didn't.
And being like, well, look what I went and did.
And I just joined this band called the Foo Fighters.
They didn't mention it, but I'm curious now. Age-wise, was there a disparity of oh, they were 5 years older?
They were older than her.
It looks like
but
she is
had-
4 years younger than Chris Chaney.
She had just turned 21 while they were on tour.
Yeah.
It wasn't even but while they were on the road, she turned 21.
Yeah.
And they were all 25, 26.
Yeah, I'd
something like that.
imagine something like that.
Yeah, and it looks like Taylor Hawkins was maybe 2-3 years older than her. So older, but when you're talking about 21 to let's say 25, that's eons.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. So
Well, they were all already gigging musicians who
Right.
gone on tour.
yeah.
So
the we mentioned already that this tour was huge. She blew up instantly, right? The movie scene of the radio thing is real. That happened, was deserved, and she blew up in this amazing fashion of just wow, I'm suddenly playing to sold out fucking arenas, spaces, everything. And love that clip where she's playing at that festival, playing at a festival, and she said she couldn't hear herself at all because the crowd was screaming so loud. She's like, I have no idea what notes I was singing.
Shea Stadium,
Yeah.
Beatles style.
Yeah, it's just it's such a cool thing to just and they talk too about how she was so good at writing these anthem songs.
Yeah.
Just instantly writing song people would just sing along to and have a great time doing. So I it was obviously a huge hit of a tour. And so I have 2 games in relation to the tour. As you guys watch the documentaries, you should be fine on these. Let's see what happens. So I'll do one first. So she talked about the cover songs that they played on the tour, which I thought was so funny that they talked about, yeah, we played some covers too. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because they didn't have enough material for a whole night.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, Linkin Park apparently had a similar thing where their first 2 albums are 30 minutes each. And whenever they blew up on that first record, they had that same thing where they would open up for Metallica and they'd be like, all right, you have a 50-minute set. And they're like, we only know 30 minutes. And they're like, okay, you play it twice then. And it's just what the fuck?
Yeah. So the cover songs So I have a list of cover songs. Which of these songs did they not cover? Okay,
Mambo number 5.
not on the list.
Oh fuck.
Was that Lou Bega?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than that one band, the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. Ugh.
So
Fuck that fucking band name.
Take a Chance on Me, We Will Rock You, All I Want to Do, and Fake Plastic Trees, which I think was the Radiohead song. I give that one away. That was the Radiohead song,
was.
right? Okay.
What is All I Want to Do? Who's that
All I
by?
Want to Do, Sheryl Crow.
Fuck.
I don't think
know
they
what
covered that
is.
one.
All
That's
I
my answer.
wanna do
know
is
what that
have
is.
some fun.
Okay, one more time, can you give me the whole list?
Take a Chance on Me, We Will Rock You, All I Want to Do,
I know the answer.
and Fake Plastic Trees.
Yeah. I'm good.
I got it.
Okay, go.
That's all I want to do.
Yeah, that's all I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah,
do.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
correct. That's right.
Radiohead, while we're on this, so she got to pick her opener,
Yeah.
and she picked Radiohead because she's like, oh, I was such a fan, and then I met them, and she was like, the band really got along with them, and I tried to talk to Tom, and wow, I forgot the quote, like, so fucking aloof, and
Yeah.
I was just like, this is gold.
Didn't she say that she was aloof?
I don't
No,
know.
no.
I think she was talking about Tom.
She said
Oh.
that Radiohead as a band was aloof and hard for her to talk to. She said that she saw Taylor becoming, because Taylor talked about how he
and he kept
became,
calling him Thom, and I was just
Dude,
like,
that's
dude,
the funniest fucking
shut
thing.
He was like, that's what I call him.
Taylor was like, yeah, I called him Thom.
that's such like baby shit that I was just like, oh my God, shut up.
yeah.
Somebody edit this out.
It is really, that whole like segment is amazing.
That is a baby shoes joke right there. I was just like, oh God.
I loved it. So they talk a lot about how.
So sorry, that song "Lift" from that got cut from OK Computer.
Yeah.
They wrote that they obviously wrote a lot of stuff, but like they specifically that song and Radiohead wrote it, and like during that tour, and like they played it live that entire tour, and that's why it became this like gem, like that. The whole everybody who's been following Radiohead like knew, like, you guys have this song, like, why didn't you record it? And then like they finally came out, they're like, oh, we did, and here it is. And like basically Tom York, when they released it like a couple years ago, said like, I don't know why I gave up on this song. This is like, it's beautiful, and like, I'm an idiot for not releasing this.
I call him Thom.
Yeah.
But was it Alanis or Taylor that was saying that they did 2-hour sound checks? Radiohead did 2-hour sound checks.
It was, I think Taylor
I think
said
it was
that.
Taylor.
But yeah,
He was like,
that
they were clearly writing OK Computer.
Yeah, they were writing OK Computer at the time of opening for Alanis Morissette, which is really cool.
Also, just really strange to think about.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think we all obviously think about Radiohead more than Alanis Morissette.
Right.
And so it's just weird to think about, like, oh, they opened for her because she was a fan and wanted them to play.
It made
Like,
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, she was way bigger than them.
No, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's strange, I guess.
They said she got to pick, which is,
yeah. Which,
So-
I mean, that's great for her.
this tour being, a bunch of, young 20-somethings was going to be like a party tour. The guys like Slash and them were like, we heard how much you partied on this tour. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Well, they talked about, like, the band was talking about, like, how the Alanis Morissette band were talking about how, they had played shows, they were professional musicians, but they hadn't become rock stars
Right.
like this.
They
So, like,
hadn't gotten the chance to do this kind of like what their heroes had talked about doing.
so all they knew was, like, especially when we're talking about the 90s, all they knew was, like, what had been fed to them. And then you get the whole Slash anecdote of
Right.
them meeting him and Slash being like, dude, I hear that you guys are partying more than us. And, like, you think that'd be a wake-up call. But, of course, like, these 20-somethings
Yeah.
are probably like, yeah,
that's to
let me
them,
smoke weed out of a pineapple.
To them, that's everything, right? And so this tour was incredibly like debaucherous. I think that
Was that?
that's pretty
topical.
good. That's pretty that's
topical.
good.
I love
yeah.
that.
Pretty
by the
timely,
way.
yeah.
Was a good time, a well-timed was up, never fails. Never fails. I'll fucking shit my pants as soon as you do it.
I think that the part that killed me in relation to this was the hypocrisy of the band, of Alanis's band.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't cut this out.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is similar to
Yeah, I'm
the
glad it got
99, the
addressed
Woodstock
also, yeah.
99, where it's just like, oh yeah, like you could have glossed over this or have it be a very quick thing.
Yeah.
But
So like basically the her band was, like we said, 20-somethings who were partying, who were living the tour life, and like their heroes were. So they were getting drunk, but they also had talked about how much they wanted to just hook up with as many girls as possible.
the
That was
hypocrisy of the lyrics versus their actions.
right. I mean, like they're like the not only is like the desire of wanting to hook up with as many girls as possible like hypocritical, right? But the whole way they went about it is just like, oh my fuck, this is so
Stacks.
skeevy.
On the other side of the stadium,
Yeah.
away from Alanis.
Knowing that's
Well,
the like
that's-
very much like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And knowing that goes against it, and she would probably be very mad.
So what we're saying is on the other side of like the arenas, they would have like a room where one of the guitar techs would basically have extra backstage passes, and he would go find a bunch of girls who wanted to come backstage and likely just meet Alanis, but they would give them, the backstage passes, and then the band would meet them, and so on and so forth.
And it just like, you could tell whenever they got to the Taylor Hawkins talking about that, he does that smile and he goes, I can't believe I'm going to fucking tell you this story.
Yeah.
To which I was like, oh, somebody tipped off the director.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, it put him in that spot of like,
I don't think that had been addressed, at least with him.
No,
No,
So-
not at all.
No. And like Alana said in the documentary, it didn't match her mission or value system at all. But she said she has always been around men, and she always grew up with men, and she figured that it would be the same no matter what happened. There was like not really another option. It was like, this is just what they're gonna do.
well, the question was, I think that got into that answer was the director asked, was there a scenario where you had an all female
Right.
band? And she
Yeah.
said, yeah, there was, but you have to understand I was a product of my time. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here. So it was like, hey, you have to understand I was a product of my time. I only knew like, I was, raised around men. So like as a woman at that time, I was told like basically we were trained in scarcity, that there's only room for one of us. There's only room. So
Well, they talked about on the radio thing that as far as radio play goes, that they weren't supposed to play two female artists
Like back to back.
So that the jockeys couldn't play, the disc jockeys couldn't play No Doubt and then Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, how fucked is that? It's
Yeah.
so insane.
yeah.
I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg for how bad it was back then.
But then she
yeah.
basically was like, as soon as she heard about that, she like put a stop to it. She was like, I
Yeah.
was fucking pissed, and I told
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
it's just like, I'm glad that she,
Yeah.
had that agency, and it like,
Well, because this is something that we didn't talk about, but like when they started the tour, like the producer was like, "Hey, you're the boss now," and she was like, "What does that mean?" She's like,
fucking 20.
"You have to
Yeah.
be the boss. You have to tell them what to do. They're your band." And then later, when she's talking about like kind of the band feeling like a certain way because it's just Alanis Morissette and not about them, it's like, cool, you signed up for this.
Right.
You
fucking auditioned.
You auditioned to be in Alanis Morissette's band, not like Alanis Morissette and the band, but it's me, solo artist.
It wasn't forming a band to back her that could then go on and do their own thing. It was her band.
Right.
did anybody, every time they cut to that audio of Shirley Manson, I think it happens 2 or 3 times in the documentary, where they have that quote of like, how often name another person who comes out with this many songs on their debut record. I'm just like, wasn't her debut record. It just like, it kept like bugging my brain. I was
They
just
kept saying debut record.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was
specifically
an American,
Shirley Manson.
It was
Yeah.
it was
an American debut.
it was
right?
it was an international, like American international
international,
debut.
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So like, because like the other stuff we can't find anymore, right? So it is not her debut. That's true, but I get why people would say that.
No.
And I get why she wouldn't want it as a part of her legacy.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah, especially considering even if she had written all that, which she didn't necessarily write all of it either. It was very like studio guided.
yeah.
But even if she did, it's like it's okay if you want to say I don't want that first album to be something that I introduced to people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's considered a debut as far as like, because a lot of like the metrics that we're using that we'll talk about at the end that they talk about the documentary is like is mostly U.S.
I think I'm being too strict on the
No,
term
no, I get
debut.
it, I get
If
it.
she said first album, then I would be in
Yeah.
the like, I'd be in
Yeah.
the right here. But
I think you're still in the right.
You got to have a more American centric view.
and like, who am I to fucking like tell her? I mean, she's in a band with a Brat Cantrell lookalike, Butch Vig. So it's like,
Yep.
who the fuck am I?
Yeah. So the tour was a massive hit, 18 months, and
So long.
they
It's
played
a long ass tour.
They played with a number of other bands. We already mentioned Radiohead, but there was a number of other bands that she also played
Game?
with on this tour. Yeah. So who of this
Game.
who of
I
this list
smell a game.
who of this list did she not play with on the tour? So we already said Radiohead, and you guys already know that's correct. She played with Radiohead on the tour. Our other three options are Red Hot Chili Peppers, Neil Young, Foo Fighters.
I know it.
I know it.
I'm not sure I know it.
Oh, okay. Adam goes
Album.
first.
You want the options
We're doing
again?
who they didn't play with.
Who did she not play with? Yeah. You want the options again?
Lou Vega.
No, I'm going to say Red Hot Chili Peppers, even though I think I'm wrong.
It's Red Hot Chili Peppers.
It's Chili Peppers.
It is?
Chili
Okay.
Peppers. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Neil Young's in
I
that.
felt so weird when
Because I remember Neil Young, and then I was like, but Flea was involved in some stuff, so
That's
maybe
why
he showed
I
up.
put it there.
good game making.
Yeah, that was good.
It is okay game making. It's good for the documentary and good for people who haven't watched the documentary. It's fun.
I mean, we were all going to remember the Foo Fighters one.
Right.
Well, 'cause
yeah.
there's that footage of Pat and Dave up on stage.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
Bloody- and they fucking take the fucking mic from the
from
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
guitar player.
Yeah.
and
great.
Dave's just like, I
felt
like
so
that
bad.
drummer. I really like that drummer.
I'm gonna
Pat's
fuck that
drinking
drummer.
I'm gonna fuck that drummer. That drummer gave me a
He
backstage
gave me
pass.
a backstage pass. Ugh. So
Yeah.
Yep. I don't feel like I deserve one. You're the one who said the backstage pass thing. The fuck the drummer's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not funny.
So the tour finishes, and Taylor Hawkins leaves the band, and everybody kind of goes whatever separate ways they go. She talks about how emotional it is to see everybody leave.
They ended in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and like her running around, like doing like the string,
Silly
guns,
string and
silly
whipped
string.
cream.
Yeah, and yeah.
And I think it's specifically the bassist. Like she gets the guitar is pretty good, first person, and then everybody's clocked it. They didn't show Taylor Hawkins, but dude can't run away.
Yeah.
But then when she's
But
going to the
everybody knows what's
bassist,
coming at that point.
the bassist very clearly is like, I don't want this
I
to happen.
don't want my strings to get dirty.
And she just keeps going back for him.
Yeah.
I like my heart was kind of like going out to him. Like part of me is just like, dude, just like it's the last show tour.
Yeah,
But
exactly,
also
yeah.
like I was like, I get it. Don't
Yeah.
fling mud at my shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, and they talked about
That's why they all quit the band.
they talked about
Did
how
they? Did they all quit the band? Like after that tour?
I don't know.
I know at least one of them did.
I'm honestly not sure because that's just her live band as far as I know. I don't think any of them
Yeah, none of
were
them
ever
recorded
a part of
studio.
recording.
Yeah.
And I would imagine she would get people who were part of recording after that, but I'm not 100% sure. But they talked a lot about with that tour, it being 18 months. They were like, "Where are we? I don't know. Hotel key. Okay, go to the next place."
Yeah.
It was very just kind of like you're in this weird haze for that long. It's pretty wild. But yeah, ended in Hawaii and to a massive success. The album didn't really. This is mentioned in the documentary, but didn't really mention that it was the second best-selling album by a woman, and it was also the second highest-selling record of the '90s.
It takes the luster out, but like, did anybody when they read that was like, well, what's number one? What is it?
Of the best selling of the 90s?
No, of
No.
the woman. Like,
Oh.
I was just, well, both really.
Yeah.
The 90s, I would say it's Nevermind.
No, but like, oh yeah, the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was two.
I
it was
could
two.
see it being
She's-
like a Michael Jackson record. I
Yeah.
could see something like
Yeah.
that.
Now here's the interesting
or
thing.
Madonna.
So I love at the very beginning of the documentary, someone's talking about the album, and they say it was everywhere. 1 out of every 10 people in the U.S. had this album. I'm like, that's a really
10%, baby.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Which sounds so
Yeah.
low, but like
Yeah.
if you think of like 10% of however many million people, like 300 million here,
Yeah.
that's a fuck ton of people.
So she sold by the time the documentary aired, 33 million copies sold worldwide. The interesting thing is she has sold 75 million records worldwide total, and 33 million of that 75 is Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
Which is like
That is pretty nuts.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. I meant to look more into this, but there was a musical made also, and the musical did get 15 Tony nominations.
I've yet to see it, so I'll have to, come back to you.
I had the tab pulled up. I had fully intention to look into this more, and I was like, whatever. Only me and Jackson are interested in this probably. So.
I mean, I think it's interesting that there was a musical.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to go seek it out.
Yeah,
Personally, but
So, and she also has won 7 Grammys and 13 Juno awards. That's the Canadian.
the Canadian
one, right?
Grammys.
Yeah, right. So yeah,
That's that show that I did twice.
yeah, it's that show you did twice.
She won the awards.
yeah, do you get an award for that from Canada?
I do.
I think that this album is obviously a great album. Was there any like standouts for you guys? Did you guys listen to the album?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there any standouts for you guys?
The whole thing is great.
Yeah.
Kind of disappointed in myself that I had never like gone and listened to it all.
Right. Pause. Hold.
Did you hit the space bar?
No.
I was making sure it was. No, I didn't hit the space bar just then. I put my phone down.
So it's the 45 minutes.
It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Just push
Keeps getting
record,
longer.
dude.
That's
He's
different.
got to line it up.
I'm not gonna lie.
No,
I
he
just want to get
doesn't.
closer.
No, just
Do it later.
leave a gap.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Nice.
Nothing happened.
I'll fix that later.
Yeah.
Standouts. I think obviously like the singles are pretty crazy.
You Learn is my favorite, as I already said.
You learn is great. I think that I never really spent a lot of time with the last song, Wake Up. And I think that's a great song.
The secret song.
Oh, was that that's
I think that's
the You Oughta
Your
Know.
House a cappella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'd look at a classic secret song like the Something in the Way on
Yeah.
Nevermind. I don't know how I feel about that like tactic anymore.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I
it's
see
not
that like
reasonable
20
anymore.
minute
It doesn't work
fucking
now.
song.
Yeah. It
My
didn't
Chemical
translate to the
Romance-
modern times.
Yeah.
My Chemical Romance did it for Black Parade, the last song Blood. And it's just like,
That is kind of an interesting thing, just as a side note. I'm surprised no streamer has tried to like copy that, because that would be a cool way for them to have an exclusive song that's like, oh, it's hidden. You got to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
that would
Because
be
that would work then.
like
'cause
actually
since it's a
hide it in the
20-minute
data.
song, yeah.
Like don't show it. Like you have to like
you have to play
10
the whole
songs.
It
album.
might be
Yeah.
between the second song.
Right.
yeah, like
Yeah.
not even you have to listen to the whole album. Like after the 10th song, last song, whatever in this theoretical thing, it goes straight into 11, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe a month after its release, okay, it's here.
Because otherwise you see it's like 20, 25 minutes, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
like that
I
idea.
felt the same thing about this record as I did about Grace, about Jeff Buckley's
I
album,
had the exact same thought.
where I was like, I didn't realize how intricate this all is.
Yeah.
And even the singles, I was like, whoa, like this. I forget which one it is, but it starts out with like a 1-1-5-6-4 chord progression, and then when it goes to the chorus, it changes that and
Yeah.
it goes to a different key. And then how it gets back, I was like, what the hell is this?
And then there's that one with the 69-420 pattern, and I was just like, whoa.
Well, no, there's the one that's in 6. Jackson.
The way you handle that made me feel like such an asshole.
That's how he handles
You're like,
the
I'm not letting
students.
you take this from me.
Yeah.
But there was the one that's in 6 that I just like. Still, I have to like wait until 10 seconds in before I'm like, I know where one is.
Yeah.
It's just really
well, it's-
cool writing.
It's a really like clear. It's obvious that this album has like a big influence on people too. You can hear it.
That's
Yeah.
that's
listening
the
to it in the context of today and be like, oh, there's like so many people like took a lot out of this.
When
Yeah.
I watched this, my partner afterwards asked, so how was it? And I said, gave her kind of the standouts. And then when I specifically said, oh, it was really cool seeing the like people she inspired type thing. And then they have like the clip of Taylor Swift and her performing together at a Taylor Swift show. And then the Beyonce performing You Oughta Know. And I think that's at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And my partner immediately goes like, holy shit, that happened, and then looks it up and watches it, and she's like, oh my god, it's the If I Were a Boy, then goes into You Oughta Know, and then back into If I Were a Boy, and she was like,
Wow.
this is like me peak Beyonce. How did I not know about this?
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
The influence that she has is pretty crazy. And yeah, I mean the documentary ends with her like singing the song for her kids,
Dude.
Yeah.
which is great.
Fuck that kid for ruining that
fuck
take.
That kid. Yeah.
I was watching that and I was like, oh, this is so endearing. And I was like, all right, now shut the fuck up.
But after watching all
Give
the-
that-
Why did you sing that line?
Give that baby to your handler now.
I wrote this for you, you little shit.
You're gonna love
The whole
this when
time
I'm
she's singing,
dead.
she's like, I should have not written it for you.
Yeah. But well,
You don't deserve this.
but watching the that's such a well placed scene though, because watching the entire documentary, getting to know about all the shit that she had to put
Yeah.
up with, and like how triumphant ultimately she was, and then seeing that poignant clip, like the first time I've watched it twice. the first time I watched the documentary, I totally got me.
She's the stereotypical, like, or not stereotypical. She is the success story. Of,
Yeah.
like she came out on top, and like,
Yeah.
I don't think we really need to get into it, just for like, I guess trigger warnings and stuff. But she does at points like talk about like, hey, these things that like you think as a 15-year-old woman, a 15-year-old kid, sorry,
Yeah.
being basically handled by men away from her family, the things you're thinking, that comes up. And like, as I said, we won't get into depth here, but you can watch the documentary, but that like comes up. And so talking about her eating disorder, what I just referred to, it is very like, and she talks about it, she's like a lot of therapy, and she's a success story. She's a champion.
Yeah.
Like it's
Oh, she's very
so impressive.
transparent about her thinking then and therapy and everything. That's good.
And she's really open of like, of course I could have had an all woman band, but I am a product of like,
Right,
what
of the
happened.
time, yeah.
And like, should she be faulted for that? No, but she's being very open of like, hey, I was being shitty because of how I was raised. And I think that's definitely important. I had the same thing with the Jeff Buckley thing where I was like, but my thought was whenever I was watching, I was like, I have this idea of Jeff Buckley in my head just based off of what I've seen of him. And I'm like, I think I have probably a very unfair, I'm judging him in the wrong way. And unfortunately, I'll never know because he's folklore at this point.
Yeah.
He's just this legend. Whereas like for her, I was like, oh, I get to see her. I get to see the person on the other end. And it's the same thing with Kurt Cobain. Like he is such a, like, just this, like, I don't know, like he's a legend at this point in the sense of like, who the fuck is Kurt Cobain? I don't think anybody can tell. I wouldn't be shocked if like, even like people who knew him, like Dave Grohl couldn't tell you what he was like because it's like, it's
It
so
just becomes,
tainted at
like,
this point.
Yeah, it becomes part of pop culture at this point. And
Tainted's unfair. Who blew out a candle?
Oh, it just went out.
I just
I
started
smelled that too.
I was like, oh my God, I'm having an aneurysm.
it just went out. It just
Oh
went
my
out.
God.
But yeah, that is the documentary. Go ahead.
All in all, I was skeptical about this. I was like, I like that album, all that. Like, but there's definitely not a full episode in this. Totally wrong. Happy to be wrong here. I just went, Hagen, great idea.
Great
This was
idea.
awesome. Thanks.
The
Thanks.
only thing I didn't like about the recording was the snare drum from 90% of the record.
Yeah.
And the footage immediately, as soon as they started playing it live, Taylor's snare does not sound like the record. And it
Yeah.
sounds
Well,
great,
but a lot. I mean,
but that's the product of the time.
programming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No, but even the real snare drums.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Those
That's how it
tight
was,
ass
yeah.
90s snare drums.
yeah. Well, cool. Do you want to talk about what we're listening to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, I kind of know.
we're so prepared this week.
I kind of know. There's like a lot of like new stuff that I am meaning to listen to more, but I just haven't. Like the new Sleep Token album, I want to give a fair chance.
Have you checked out that, there's Alex Leahy. He's a singer-songwriter from Australia. I think since you're into Burston Maroney,
I think
it's very similar.
Yeah. I think that was on a new music thing I was listening to, but no, I haven't listened to it.
I think you would like it.
Realistically, like for things I'm like listening to just like on my own, I'm going to see a show tomorrow night. I'm going to go see Plini and Sungazer. Plini is progressive metal, I guess. And Sungazer is, I don't know.
Nerd metal?
Nerd. That's not really metal. It's
Nerd
like,
gent jazz?
It's like EDM. It's like electronic music, but like with a bass player and a saxophone and drums. But so Sungazer is the music YouTuber Adam Neely's band. So tomorrow I'm going to go see Sungazer and Plini. And so I've been listening to them and kind of just getting my head. And then on Thursday, I'm going to go see Sky Window, just get all music nerded out. So yeah, that's what I got. Nothing like crazy new. It's super interesting. Just, that.
Yeah, I've got nothing either that I've been listening. Nothing.
Nice.
I've been listening to a lot of shit, but nothing worth mentioning.
I mean, I know y'all may have watched it, the Foo
Fuck 'em.
Fighters rehearsal thing, which,
Yeah.
as you talked about earlier, Colin, things concerts, they called this preparing music for concerts.
I love
It's
that.
hilarious.
That's so funny. Yeah.
It's very much Dave Grohl just having fun at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's where they reveal their new drummer, I guess Jackson. would
At
know
least touring drummer.
Yeah.
that. No, very specifically touring drummer.
Yeah.
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 And I would assume he has no intention of being their studio drummer just from his career.
Yeah, I would imagine that like they want to keep it pretty much like this is Dave Grohl on drums. And
Yeah.
I mean, like Josh Freese is a great choice. I mean,
he does a couple things in this like short, I don't know, hour long like
he plays
session
really
basically.
fast.
He does some like fun things that are like that would be kind of cool to see. Like it's cool that it's different and they're not just trying to do like, well, we're gonna keep everything the same and just be sad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they definitely like, and I thought like how kind of I don't know, intimate. I don't know if that's the right word, but just like kind of how nice like the video was, that it was like they caught Josh Freese walking up to Dave and going, "Hey, so for the live arrangement on this one," and it felt really like a genuine conversation at a rehearsal. And
Dave avoiding saying Taylor.
Yeah.
You didn't watch it, but Josh
How do you know
Freese,
that? How do you know that?
My cat just ran in.
Because I know you didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it.
Josh Freese was asking about an arrangement, and he was like, "Yeah, when we used to do it live, we'd break it down, and then you would." And it's just like, fuck.
It's like a sad
rough.
moment. Yeah.
Yuck.
But there's also there was a new song in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
there
you
was
caught that,
Nothing at All. I think is
yeah,
the name
which
of
is
it.
is great. So I think this album's gonna be great. I didn't have any like doubts really, but
Iris
you're
is in
gonna
here.
enjoy
You
it.
can just leave Iris in here.
I'm not gonna listen to it. I have been listening. There's been 2 records that I know of this year that have been this way, of a a famous rapper with a more producer type releasing as like kind of a dual album. I don't know if that's how you would call it. Like the first one that came up this year, it was this was back in March. It's JPEGMafia and Danny Brown, which Danny Brown's another one of those guys where it's like, you could play me a Danny Brown song and I'd be like, but dude, I know exactly who this is. Dude's super unique, but their album Scaring the Hose, loved it. Super fun. Also some of the funniest like just like names, like title tracks or tracks for the titles. So if you want to go listen to that, like definitely do that. But specifically more recently, I had never heard of Billy Woods or Kenny Segal and or Segal. And they released an album that is a very similar thing where it is Billy Woods rapping with his longtime producer. And it's just like, it's wonderful. It's called Maps. And then like, it is one of the best rap albums I've heard in such a long time. It's very like, I don't know. I listen to stuff like Kendrick Lamar and like, it feels so big and produced. And it's not that I can't relate with that, but it's just like, I don't know why I have a harder time connecting with that, where this is very much like, it feels like producer comes with like, hey, here's a beat I'm working on, and then the rapper just gets on it and is like, okay, this is what I can do with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really like that. It feels very much it fits an avenue that I click with more. So like Maps by Billy Woods and Kenny Segal. It's wonderful, and apparently Pitchfork loved it too. I'm seeing here, so maybe
Yes.
it sucks.
They did love it. I also know people who worked with Billy Woods that are like, I guess Billy Woods had some tie to like DFW, like hip hop scene. Don't know what it was, but
I had never heard of either of these artists, so I doubt I'll go back and like check out other stuff. I am very much of a like, whenever I listen to someone new like this, I'm just like, space and time. Like,
yeah,
it'll organically happen or it won't.
Well, anybody got anything else? Anything they want to promote?
No.
Well,
That feel good.
We
I think
have
it's Adam and me.
Well, yeah, I guess we could do
Okay.
that. It is.
I'll drink it and spit it into Adam's mouth.
Perfect. Yeah.
Mama Bird Adam, that.
Here you go.
Hey, I've got to go early after being here late too. Just gonna stand up and leave now.
Well, I was perfect because I was gonna say thanks for being here today, Adam. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad I could make it.
Email your favorite harmonica songs at harmonica@don'tfeedtheartist.com.
Yeah, please do that. Please do that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it so much. If you haven't already, please follow or subscribe whatever podcast app you are using. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like the video. All these things help us out a whole lot. If you're on social media, you can find us on Instagram, DFTA Podcast, TikTok, Don't Feed the Artists. Find those, give it a follow. And if you want to tell us your favorite harmonica solo, email Jackson at harmonica@don'tfeedtheartist.com. Or if you have...
Thank you, Adam, for being here for this episode at don'tfeedtheartist.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam, for being here for this episode at don'tfeedtheartist.com.
Fuck, that's gross.
If you have any topic ideas, thoughts at all, please leave a comment,
Ugh.
DM us, anything at all. And really, you can email us at literally whatever you want to at don'tfeedtheartist.com.
We're going to pour the rest of this beer out for Taylor Hawkins.
Yep. All right, Adam, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Fuck off! Give me a towel!
Give me a towel.
Peace out, bitches.